Donald Trump just held a disastrous presser in front of the new Qatari Air Force One. Qatar, of course, gave Donald Trump a $400 million jet, which was then renovated to the tune of over $1 billion by American taxpayers. This is his first trip on Qatari Air Force One, and he wanted to show it off, but this press conference went sideways very quickly. Donald Trump was asked by members of the press how critics say that you are profiting off the presidency. Your latest financial disclosures show that you made close to $2 billion off of crypto and stock trades, 21,000 stock trades, one every few minutes at this point while you were in the Oval Office. What's going on there? Watch his response. Let's play this clip.
But critics say you're profiting off the presidency.
Well, you know why I'm profiting? Because the stock market's going up. Everybody's profiting. If you have a 401k, how's your 401k done? It's about up 85%. Thank you, President Trump. So we're all profiting. I'm profiting because I have a lot of money and a lot of cash, and I give it to institutions. I don't know if they know what they're doing or not, but they buy a vast array of things.
President Trump, you've been meeting with Secretary Hexat.
Then Donald Trump says, yeah, this new Qatari Air Force One, it's really the pride and joy of the American people. This Qatari jet, it represents true patriotism, and the American people love when Middle East countries like Qatar are now the donors of our Air Force One. Here, play this clip.
So we're very proud of this. The country is very proud of it. And you can do two things. You can low-key it, or you can show it. And I think the country should be very proud of it. And it's beautiful, and you'll see that in a little while when you board.
And so a reporter said, okay, but what about the costs? We've heard over $1 billion. Yes, they donated this to you, but you're going to steal it when you're out of office. You're going to keep it as your own personal plane. You've said that. But how much did it cost the taxpayers? And then Donald Trump's like, very little relative to what it would have cost in a different way. The hell does that even mean? I'll tell you what it means. It means Donald Trump is a con artist. He is a fraud. And while you suffer, while you can't afford your groceries and gas or anything, or rent and have your health care ripped away, he thinks you're stupid. Let's play this clip.
Go.
Mr. President, what's your favorite upgrade to the new plane, and how much did it cost American taxpayers to upgrade the plane?
Well, of course, very little relative to what it would cost if we did it a different way. So this was a gift from a country that's treated us very well, and they're an ally of us over in the Middle East, Qatar. And I went to Boeing. I said, "Who has the best one?" They said, "Qatar." There's never been a plane like it. Frankly, we couldn't build a plane like this because we wouldn't be willing to spend the kind of money necessary. They spent top dollar. So the head of Boeing said, "This is considered the best 747 they've ever built." And I went to Qatar. I said, "I'd like to use it for a period of time because the other ones, as you know, are under construction. They'll be here in 2 years." And because, you know, the plane is 35 years old. So I said, "I'd like to use it." And the Emir, Tamim, who's a great gentleman, he said, no, I'd like to make a contribution to the country. So it was very nice. And we were able to do it in about 5 months, you know, bring it up to the presidential standard, meaning security-wise. And you're gonna get a kick out of it. There's just nothing like it.
Then Donald Trump was asked more questions about his financial disclosures, which show close to $2 billion were made trading stocks and crypto in the Oval Office. And again, he says, look, this is what rich people do, okay? When you're rich, they let you do it. So just stop asking me questions. Here, play this clip.
You know, I don't get involved in my personal. We have funds that run my money.
But you are benefiting.
Well, I've made a lot of money before I became president, and they invest my money, and I don't talk to them. I don't even speak to them. So I have many people, I don't know what they call it, closed accounts or something. You put your money in, and that's it. I don't talk to them. They're big institutions, and they run it. But yeah, I've had a great career. In business, I've had a great career.
About conflict of interest.
I don't know if I've had a better career in politics or business, But I had a great career in business, and you saw the cash, and you report the different things. And what they do is we gave it, I think it's called a blind account, but they take it. And I never speak to any of the people that run the money, but they're at big institutions, and they invest in whatever they.
Well, let's just take a look at this chart right here quickly. This graph shows the number of individual stock trades made by U.S. presidents since 1990. Well, didn't Donald Trump say he was rich during his first term? Okay. Well, look at the stock trades there. Still bad, but look at it right now and look at it contrasted to every other president. They weren't making 21,000 trades across 8 investment accounts, averaging about 80 trades per day. No, they weren't trading at all. Remember those days? Yeah. Donald Trump then says about his new Qatari Air Force One, "This is the greatest commercial plane ever built." What are you even talking about? Can you just help the American frickin' people? Because my fellow Americans are suffering right now. Here, play this clip.
This will be the first flight of what I think is maybe the greatest commercial plane ever built. I said to Boeing, "What's the best one?" They said, "This is the best plane ever built, and you're going to have the privilege of flying it, and I have a privilege also of flying it. But this is the first flight. We're going to the Teddy Roosevelt Presidential Library opening, and that'll be very good. That'll be a lot of fun." But I think, to be honest with you, I'm excited about the first flight. It's something nobody's ever seen anything like it.
And then a reporter asks him a question about Bill Pulte, who's the new director of national intelligence, despite not passing a security background check, not having security clearances, having no national intelligence experience. And as a result of Pulte being there, the Senate has not reauthorized FISA. They don't want Pulte to have access to this, and they don't want Pulte being in this position. And Donald Trump says, I told Pulte, I said, declassify anything you want. Just go through it, declassify anything. Really, you told someone not qualified or competent in any national security to just go in and start declassifying anything? I mean, could you imagine our enemies just with a massive smile on their face? Here, play this clip.
Are you able to give us an update on that?
Declassify almost everything. And by the way, we have Jay Clayton is going in. Bill Pulte's a very talented guy, but he's just there temporarily until Jay Clayton. And Jay Clayton is going through the process. And Jay Clayton, highly respected, and so is Bill Pulte. But Bill is there just for a fairly short period of time. But while he's there, I said, you can declassify whatever you want.
Do you think we're going to get some soon, or maybe 2020?
I told him you can do it as fast. You got to ask him.
All right.
But I think he's a friend of yours. I think that Bill will declassify. I told him you can declassify whatever you want. So Bill's there just for maybe a month or 2 months or something, and Jay is going through the process. He's got a hearing in 2 weeks. Highly respected man, Jay Clayton. Okay? Thank you.
If you're anything like me, a lot of the information you take in every day doesn't come from sitting down and reading a report. It comes from conversations, interviews, meetings, phone calls, and discussions with people who know something you don't. The problem is those conversations move fast, and it's easy to forget an important detail later. That's exactly why I've been using Plod. Plod creates these AI-powered wearable devices that help capture, organize, and recall information from real-world conversations and moments. So whether it's an interview, a meeting, a phone call, or just the voice memo, it captures the details while you stay focused on the conversation. Afterward, everything is searchable, organized, and easy to reference. It supports transcription in 112 languages, is trusted by more than 2 million users worldwide, and is built with enterprise-grade privacy and compliance standards. I have the Plod NotePin S here. It's a small wearable device that follows me throughout the day, so whether I'm preparing for the show, discussing breaking news, or organizing thoughts between recordings, it lets me capture important details without constantly reaching for my phone. It's made my workflow a lot easier easier because I can stay engaged in the conversation instead of worrying about taking notes. And it even helps me with the basic stuff I'm bad at, like remembering people's names. Say I'm in a meeting and a lot of people I just met are speaking. It'll organize all the information. I can easily look up who was who, remind myself of the action items, so I could actually be present in the moment and be sure that none of the information discussed gets away from me, because I could always look it up later. And there's a bunch of ways to wear it. There's a magnetic pin, a clip, a lanyard to wear as a necklace like the one I have on now, a wristband. It's super cool and so helpful. If your day is driven by conversations, interviews, analysis, and staying informed, Plaud helps make sure nothing important gets lost. Get up to 20% off with code Meidas at plaud.ai/Meidas. That's PLAUD.ai/Meidas. MEIDAS.
Then Donald Trump says, yeah, when it comes to Iran, we hit them very hard for 3 nights. Now we get along very well. Very well. We're getting along very well with Iran. Here, play this clip.
As far as things are going, the denuclearization of Iran is moving along well. They've had very good meetings, and we'll see. We hit them very hard for 3 nights, as you know, but we're getting along very well. So I call it the denuclearization. And
here's a photo, by the way, of Donald Trump with the other people in Air Force One. Look at this weird crew of human beings right here. Look at the back left. You see Natalie Harp, Donald Trump's human printer. Lots of people call her other things of Donald Trump as well. Donald Trump says things are going really well in Iran. Oh, let's just take a look at the actual data and the receipts. If we take a look at the Strait of Hormuz over the last 24 hours, 0 ships are using any lanes that the American CENTCOM told them to use. They're going through the IRGC route. You can see right there. Oil stocks in U.S. strategic petroleum, the reserves that we have in Cushing, Oklahoma. They're at their lowest level since 1983. We're basically at tank bottom there, while the oil market itself, the crude market, is being shorted and being pushed down, being manipulated. What's notably is the crack spreads. When you look at the price of the gas that you have to go at the pump, it ain't coming down as fast as crude because the crude market is being manipulated. I've done videos on that. So after Trump's disastrous presser, they send out one of their propagandists, Caroline Leavitt. Trump's propagandist was on the plane, so she couldn't do this press conference. So then they brought in Anna Kelly, who's auditioning for that role after Caroline Leavitt. And she's like, look, this is why people elected Donald Trump. They wanted a guy who would be doing stock trades, 21,000 in the Oval Office every day, focused on enriching himself and crypto. That's what they're focused on. Here, play this clip.
Too, about his sons making money off a deal in Kazakhstan. What's the White House's position on all these questions?
Well, I think the president said it best. And let's remember, Bill, why Americans elected this president to office, because he was an outsider who was tremendously successful in business, built the New York City skyline. And that's what Americans wanted. They wanted a businessman in office. So he has had a tremendously successful career. Of course, his assets are in a blind trust. He has no control of those trades. He's pretty busy as president. He's not doing those trades from the Oval Office as he's making decisions.
Then you had the National Economic Advisor, Kevin Hassett, do an interview to kind of push these messages. And he said, okay, factory workers, we hear you. Farmers, we hear you, okay? I understand, but you becoming rich, it's right around the corner. Let me tell you, once these factories are built, okay, they're going to have to turn on their lights and then they're going to hire you. So we're looking like 2027, maybe 2028. It's right around the corner, right? It's always right around the corner. You're going to get rich. We told you it was going to be on day one. Then we told you it was going to be the 4th quarter of year 1. Then we told you it was going to be the 1st quarter of 2026. Then we told you by the end of 2026. Now the factories are going to be built at the end of 2026, maybe in 2027. Your time's going to come. Here, play this clip.
We're building factories like we've never seen before. So there's construction jobs right now while they're building the factories. But once those factories are complete, then they're going to have to turn on the lights, plug in the machines, and hire the workers. And that's what we expect is really right now just a little bit underway, and it'll be roaring by the second half of the year.
But then Hassett says the following. He goes, this is like one of the biggest tells. He goes, I was watching those Supreme Court decisions, and I noticed that the Democratic justices, the liberal justices, they voted in a block. So what I'm worried about is all of those libs on the Federal Reserve Board. Yeah, I'm worried that they're going to raise interest rates. And so your riches may be right around the corner. And yes, Donald Trump just brought in Warsh as the new chairman of the Federal Reserve, but he's not going to be able to control the libs on the Federal Reserve, and they're going to raise the interest rate. So I'm worried about. I'm just sharing with you what their plan is. So when it happens, we're not surprised, right? He's saying that they're going to blame the Dems and libs as though the Federal Reserve is like this bastion for liberal and progressivism. What are you talking about? And by the way, Jerome Powell, the other guy, was a Republican. It was Trump's appointee from 2017. That's a lib right now. That's a lib right now. But this is what they're preparing for, because then they're going to say, the lights, the factories, we were about to open them. But then the libs on the Federal Reserve, they raised interest rates. And now the CapEx spending has to go down because the companies aren't able to borrow. And now you got screwed. We were right there. Do you see what they're setting up for? Here, play this clip right here.
You saw the Supreme Court rulings come out this week. And one of the things that concerned me quite a bit was that the Democratic justices just basically voted in a block against everything that was in any way related to President Trump, which is really new. I mean, it used to be the justices would go there and they would be patriots. They put the country first, and then they decide what they think is the truth about this matter. And it can't be that Trump is always wrong. It can't be that Trump is always wrong, but that's how they voted. And I'm concerned with Jay Powell staying, that there's a majority of people over at the Fed that are not necessarily going to be voting because they're patriotic, but rather because they want to get Trump. And we're going to have to keep a close eye on that. And you can bet it's not going to be Kevin Warsh's fault, but he's got to herd some cats over there, and it's a really difficult job.
It's just so obvious with them. I'll do a whole other video on this J.D. Vance speech, but I'll just preview it a little bit over here. You have J.D. Vance speaking with the troops and telling our troops these like jokes that they don't find funny. He's like, when I was there in the military, now they have to salute me, and everyone's like, dude, what are you talking about? Also, I mean, and by the way, it was great that you dedicated your life to some service, but you were drafting press releases. Like, the people know what was going on. Here, play this clip.
One of the reasons why I wanted this job is because it's pretty cool to have the Commandant of the Marine Corps have to salute a member of the E4 Mafia. That's pretty cool. Call it an ego thing. But I left the Marine Corps as an E4, as a corporal of...
And then he goes, and we have a clear mission. We had a very clear mission in Iran. And the people are like, what are you talking about?
And one of the reasons why I'm proudest of what the President of the United States has done over these last 18 months is because when he has asked you to go to war, he has given you a defined mission. He's asked you to go and accomplish it. And most importantly, he's given you the tools to kick the hell out of the enemy and to come home safely.
And then J.D. Vance started in this speech trying to mock former President Biden in front of our troops. And he was like, yeah, and I don't want to be partisan, but I do want to make fun of Joe Biden walking. And the troops are like, dude, what are you even talking about? Here, play this clip.
The previous president, I'm trying to be nonpartisan. You ever seen these old cartoons where you've got the angel on the shoulder and the devil on the shoulder? Well, because I'm speaking to all of you, our great patriots and service members, I've got the angel on my shoulder saying, JD, don't be partisan. We're going to make this nonpartisan. And then I've got the devil on my shoulder who wants to talk about every time that Joe Biden fell up or down the stairs. And the media didn't care about that. But if I did it one time, it would be a major, major story. But let me just say to all of you, first of all, I'm so proud of you. And
I'll share this with you as well. Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, gave a speech earlier today where he said, Lebanon is a beautiful country, yet a miserable one. Its tragedy is that it is so close to Israel. You think that the people in Lebanon believe that their tragedy is their... I think that they think the tragedy right now is that they don't want you in southern Lebanon and blowing up and killing 4,000 people in Lebanon. I think that's what they would say is the issue. And oh, by the way, I just saw this. Take a look at Trump's hand, what it looked like while he was speaking. Zoom in on his hand right there. Oof, that looks pretty gnarly. And then Donald Trump's ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, just wrapped up a speech where he called Israel America's 436th congressional district of the United States. Here's what he had to say. Play this clip.
Those of you that don't realize it, 700,000 Americans represent an entire congressional district in the U.S. That's how many people live in a congressional district. When members of Congress come, I always say, welcome to Israel, the 436th congressional district of the U.S.
Now, Foreign Minister Araghchi of Iran just responded to the following. Asked about Iran's supreme leader, Mojtaba Khomeini, Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, said he was marked for death. He described the Iranians as good merchants trying to extract concessions in negotiations, and said Israel would not allow Iran to produce nuclear weapons. If they do that through an agreement, all the better, he said, and said that the Ayatollah is marked for death, to which Foreign Minister Araghchi of Iran responded, the terms of the Islamabad MOU are crystal clear and public for all to see. POTUS, Trump, has committed to the U.S. to muzzling its pets in Tel Aviv. They ignore their master. Iran will school them. Any threat against our people and leadership will receive an immediate and powerful response. So I guess that's another accomplishment for Donald Trump's Board of Peace. And by the way, Donald Trump's Board of Peace is going to be working with Netanyahu in Gaza shortly to additionally engage in more atrocities there. I mean, I'll talk about that more in a future video, but that's what the Board of Peace is gearing up for. Horrific. Anyway, hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.